very experienced official Carlos Padilla issuing the instructions to both men for this WBC Light Heavyweight Championship title fight. And what a moment indeed for Britain's Dennis Andries. And who would have thought, having lost the world title to Thomas Hitman Hearns almost 2 years ago, that he'd be back in a position where he would be in with a chance of regaining the world title. His opponent, Tony Willis, a 27-year-old from Houston, Texas, in the black trunks. And Dennis Andries, well, he's down on most people's records cards as 35. There might be another year or two there, and if that's the case, well, all credit to him for still being in terrific shape. Carlos Padilla having a word with Tony Willis, who is a rather rough and tumble unorthodox boxer. He's won all 16 of his professional fights, 12 of them inside the distance. Dennis Andries, infinitely more experienced. This his 43rd fight. He's won 33, drawn 2 and lost 7. But Andries, who took the title from J.B. Williamson in Pickett's Lock in London in June of 1986, really, it must be the last chance for him. Well, if he landed with that one, that would have been the last thing that Mr. Willis would have known about this contest. Willis with a considerable reach advantage. He's quite a mover. His manager, Bob Spangola, reckons he's similar in style to old Jersey Joe Walcott, the great champion. I don't think Jersey Joe ever lost his balance like that, however. So Dennis Andries, the man who took the title in June of '86, then defended it successfully against Tony Simpson in September of that year, and in March 1987 lost it to Thomas the Hitman Hearns. But he really has improved since then, if anything, Andries. His style has got a lot better. He was never the classic boxer by any stretch of the imagination, but he's been working very hard in Detroit in the Kronk Gym with Emmanuel Stewart. And they feel they've ironed out 1 or 2 of his faults and made him altogether a crisper, more efficient professional. Willis is a real mauler. He holds an awful lot. The North American Boxing Federation light heavyweight champion. Well, that was better by Andries. And he looks very keen, Dennis Andries. And Carlos Padilla is going to have his hands full with these two because they're both pretty rough customers. Good footwork by Willis. Interesting first round. Oh, and there's a fair bit of eyeballing. Well, not a lot of love lost, one would expect. Tony Willis in the corner. And Dennis Andries, who's won all 5 of his contests since he lost the world title to Thomas Hearns, very confident about regaining the title he held with such distinction. Andries really has been around a long time. He's been a professional since May of 1978. And he stopped Ray Pierce in 2 rounds in Newport. The early part of his career wasn't all that terribly distinguished. He lost 6 of his first 21 contests. Twice to Bunny Johnson, one of them for a British light heavyweight title. Good footwork again by Willis. He really is quite a nice mover. And Andries also in the early stages lost to Tom Collins, whom he subsequently beat for the British title. I've got to say that I don't think Dennis Andries has ever been in better shape, and for a man who, to be totally honest, may not be all that far away from his 40th birthday. He really is remarkable. This man Willis has a very awkward style. He keeps coming in and he keeps leaning and he's doing a lot of holding. And it's making life difficult for Andries to get a clean shot at him. Willis using the forearm, and there again, I think Carlos Padilla is going to have to speak to these two. This world title fight being organized by the Trump West stable, a Western American offshoot of the Detroit stable. And there again, Willis holding. And the crowd getting somewhat restless in Tucson, Arizona. Willis starts this contest as a slight favorite, although his recent record has not been all that terribly impressive. Well, that's a good ticking off, and quite right too. And even after that, Willis just leans from the waist and puts his head into the face of Dennis Andries, and he's holding the glove on the arm of Andries. Oh, this is very messy. Interestingly, Willis at this stage of the contest looks it's hard to believe, but I think he looks a bit on the tired side, and maybe that's just his style. Well, that's a real mauler, isn't it? I said no holding, yes. I don't think Willis is paying the slightest bit of attention to Carlos Padilla, however. Okay, break it up. Well, the crowd not at all happy. Dennis Andries probably not happy in that he hasn't been able to get anything like a clean shot at Tony Willis.
Okay, now, deep breath. Get your breathing going.
So Willis having getting a word or two from his corner.
Work him in. Hey, Willis, you have to stop holding, okay? Okay?
Well, that's pretty clear from Carlos Padilla. Willis, you have to stop holding, okay? Dennis Andries would like to just get on with it, I suspect. So round 3 is scheduled for 12 3-minute rounds for the vacant WBC Light Heavyweight Championship. The vacancy because Sugar Ray Leonard, having defeated Canada's Donny Lalonde last November, has decided to move back down, and he's in line for another world title fight, which might just give him a 6th title, and that's going to be against Thomas the Hitman Hearns, the man who took this title from Dennis Andries 2 years ago. So it will be interesting to see just how much attention Tony Willis has paid to referee Carlos Padilla. Well, there he's holding again. Andries getting a couple of good punches in, but Willis awkward and quite slippery and doesn't want to try to come to terms with the British boxer. The feeling in Detroit from the Andries camp is that what they've done is they've taught him how to shorten his punches and try to come inside, and rather than his old style where he used to stand away and swing a lot. And Willis, although he's come in as favourite for this contest, seems rather reluctant. Carlos Padilla not reluctant to tell him off once again about holding, because he's making a nonsense of this contest. Andries outreach, so he'll have to try to get inside Willis. Willis still being quite cautious. There's Willis holding.
You are holding too much.
Well, he's been warned about it. Now that's a definite warning. That's a definite warning. Now, will it make any difference at all? Because that was long overdue as far as Tony Willis from Houston in Texas was concerned. And Andries cuffing him around the ears, and a fair bit of sting in that. And Willis, for the first time, looking as if he doesn't want to know about any contact. A very frustrated Dennis Andries goes back to his corner. Now the Kronk boxing team very much in evidence. The men who've helped to reshape the career of Dennis Andries since he lost the world title to Thomas Hearns a couple of years ago.
You got to start to work a little. You're in great shape. Just a little tight. You got to start to let it go.
You're in great shape, they say. This man here, I've never seen him in better shape. He really looks terrific. Emmanuel Stewart and the Kronk men in the corner have done a fine job getting Dennis Andries ready. It's the second spell of boxing that Dennis Andries has had in the United States. He had 3 fights in 1985 when he was trained by Bo Williford in Louisiana. He won all 3 inside the distance. Willis at 27 may have another chance for a world title fight, but this really is make or break for Dennis Andries. There's talk about a meeting with the man that Sugar Ray Leonard beat, Donny Lalonde of Canada, for the winner. Dennis Andries is not getting a whole fistful of money for this particular contest, but if he meets the golden boy of Canadian boxing, Donny Lalonde, it might be a different financial matter. A bad left hand by Andries. And there's Willis holding yet again. He's not making much attempt to box Tony Willis. Andries has forced this pace, what pace there has been since the start. Well, the legs of Willis wobbled there, but I think he was just taking a little breather. Yes, well, that's the last time, says Carlos Padilla to Tony Willis. He really has not made any attempt. Oh, and that was quite a good punch from Andries. Now that's the first time he's landed. He caught him with the left and then the right to follow. And Willis really has good reason to hold on now, because look at the knees have gone. Well, sensational now from Dennis Andries. And Willis seems to have gone. Now can Andries stop this in this round? Willis had made very little attempt to do any proper boxing, but when Andries caught him, well, he certainly had to hold on. Well, this would be quite remarkable if Dennis Andries could produce something to finish this contest off. There's a little spot of blood on the forehead of Andries, but I think it's come from Tony Willis. Andries did cut very badly in his last contest in September, and he stopped Tony Harrison. He wasn't too impressive then, and up until this round, he hasn't been all that terribly impressive. Well, he's got him again with lefts, and Willis not happy at all and on the ropes. Now Andries, 1 or 2 good accurate punches may just win it, but the bell has come just in time for Tony Willis, and all that holding and mauling hasn't done him any good whatsoever. And they're telling Dennis Andries in his corner just how to finish this contest. Throw punches from different angles and you've got him. Well, they'll be well pleased with Dennis Andries in the Kronk stable. And at the end of that round, he certainly did have Willis in trouble. He held him perhaps and then hit him with the right, and Willis almost buckled. But the best bit of action so far, and most of it, indeed all of it, coming from Dennis Andries of Britain. Well, not too much confidence exuding from Tony Willis, and indeed from his corner. Well, he even comes out looking wobbly. Carlos Padilla keeps them apart until the bell.
Round 5.
There it is for the 5th. Andries finished very strong, and he's got him again with a right. Willis indeed leaned into it at the start of this 5th. Full marks to Willis. He came back with a right. He's going to have to try to tie Andries up. Short left from Andries. And the referee pulling the hands of Willis away. Carlos Padilla has thrown almost as many shots with the hands as either boxer in an attempt to break them up. Got him with a left. And again Willis holding on, and this time it really is genuine. Andries must try to step back. That never really was Dennis Andries' style. He always came forward. People described him as a bit of a plodder, but he got there. He's been a world champion, and he may well be a world champion again. What a good left hand. Oh, Willis threatened to go, and I don't think he's going to get up from that. He's flat on his back. Dennis Andries looking anxious, and it's been called off. Well, what a turn-up. And Dennis Andries has become only the 3rd British boxer to regain a world title, and as if to acknowledge the work that's been done by the Krong team in Detroit, he hoists his teammates in the air. What a finish by Andries, and he's done what only 2 British boxers before him have done, and that's regained a world title. Ted Kid Lewis did it at welterweight in 1917 when he regained the title from Jack Britton, and last year, a gap of some 71 years, Lloyd Hunnigan did it. Well, Hunnigan has lost his title, but this man has regained the title, and that really is a great finish. Disappointment for Tony Willis, who really tried to spoil everything that Dennis Andries had set up throughout this contest, but there's the happiest man. And for somebody who mightn't be too far away from his 40th birthday, well, he's every right to be happy. The finish was really terrific. A couple of slicing blows, and Willis, who had been spoiling all the way through, had to hold on, but he couldn't hold off that left hand from Dennis Andries.
Coming in 1 minute and 6 seconds of the 5th round, the new WBC Light Heavyweight Champion of the World, Dennis Andries!
British boxing's
translation at least. Well, now we move on to the charming Italian seaside resort of Vasto, nestling as it does on the Adriatic shoreline. Not much to do there at this time of year, you might say, but you'd be wrong. The WBA Junior Welterweight